Okay, so you've all given us this really interesting set of information, kind of like a snapshot of potential news, right?
Like a time capsule, almost.
Exactly.
Of tomorrow, March 22nd, 2025.
Yeah, and we're looking at it all today, March 21st.
Wild, right.
So our mission, if you will, is to kind of look at all this and help you understand what the key events are.
Right, and what are we really going to be talking about tomorrow?
Exactly, and maybe get a little head start.
A little bit ahead of the game, right?
Exactly, and I kind of think of it as like decoding.
Ooh.
A news forecast.
Okay, I like
And, you know, we're the interpreters.
the news decoders.
Just us.
Yeah, I liked it. So,
it is really interesting to look at all this information and think about, okay, like, what's actually going to be important?
Right.
What's going to grab people's attention?
Right, so what's on the radar today?
Oh, my gosh. Well,
so much.
We're potentially looking at huge travel disruptions out of Heathrow.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Big one.
Big one.
Then we've got India,
okay,
where there's some potential shutdowns, protests in Karnataka and Ranchi.
Both at the same time. That's going to be fascinating.
Yeah. And then we've got the kickoff of the IPL.
Oh, yeah. Got to have some fun in there, too, right?
Yeah.
You can't just have doom and gloom. Got to have something to celebrate.
Got to have the IPL.
I'll have the IPL.
And then, of course, we've got to talk about the geopolitical tensions that are always kind of bubbling up.
Always simmering.
Always simmering.
Always.
Exactly. And then we've got a few big sporting events that are happening, too.
Oh, yeah. Those are always fun.
Always fun.
A little bit closer to home, right?
A little bit closer to home.
Yeah.
And then finally, we're going to end by talking about the climate conversation that's kind of being sparked by a recent UN report.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one, I think, long term.
I think so, too.
I think so, too.
So it seems like a lot, right?
It is a lot.
It is a lot, but we're going to unpack all of it and
we're going to do it.
Show how these things might all be kind of interconnected.
Right, because it's all part of the same world we live in.
Exactly.
Crazy world.
So where do we even begin?
Let's start with Heathrow.
Okay, let's do it.
So this potential chaos.
Okay, so the notes are telling me a major fire and power outage.
Oh, wow.
At Heathrow late on March 20th.
Not good.
No, and what's so striking about something like that is just how immediate the impacts are felt around the world.
Right.
These airports are like these huge connection points, right, for the whole world.
Yeah, and I was thinking beyond just the travel chaos.
Right.
A shutdown like this could really expose like vulnerabilities.
Oh, interesting.
In those global supply chains that really rely on air freight.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
So we might actually see price fluctuations because of this.
Yeah, and in unexpected sectors.
Yeah, you just never know what relies on them. Yeah.
Those flights to get things places.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Fascinating.
So it seems like tomorrow's news is really going to be focusing on when and how Heathrow can even resume operation.
If at all. Right.
Right, and then just the amount of delayed and canceled flights.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be huge.
Huge.
And the thing about Heathrow, right, it's a major international airport.
Yeah.
So we could be looking at a cascading effect.
Worldwide.
Worldwide, exactly.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? Our information is saying that the cause is likely to be confirmed as a fire at the Hayes electrical substation.
That's very specific.
It is. And actually, Reuters is already reporting on this.
Okay,
so it seems like it's going to be a central element of the reporting.
Okay.
And we're not just talking like factual reports here.
Right.
We're probably going to see live updates from BBC, Reuters, Sky News.
All the big ones.
All the big ones. And they're probably going to be showing like real-time information.
Oh, yeah.
For those stranded travelers.
Of course. And then what about the economic fallout?
Oh, yeah.
All the experts are going to be weighing in on that.
Oh, yeah.
The airlines, businesses, individuals.
Yeah, anyone whose plans have been disrupted.
Everyone's going to be talking about that.
Yeah, and then, you know, I can't forget about social media. Social media is going to be...
It's going to be blowing up.
Blowing up. With
all of those images and videos, right?
Exactly, and the notes are actually mentioning the potentially for trending posts on X.
Yeah.
Filled with, you know, visuals from those who are stuck at the airport.
And probably even pictures of the fire.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's crazy how those firsthand accounts really shape how we understand what's happening.
They do. They really humanize the story.
And it's going to be interesting to see how quickly Heathrow can bounce back from this.
Right.
And how they communicate
with
all those passengers that have been affected.
That are just stuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked
international travel chaos.
Right.
What's next?
Let's go to India. We've got these two big bans or shutdowns.
On the horizon.
Coming up.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, not exciting.
Not exciting.
In a good way.
No.
But exciting to watch and see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first, the Karnataka band.
Karnataka.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what's going on there?
Okay, so it looks like pro-Canada groups have called for a statewide shutdown for tomorrow, March 22nd.
The whole state.
The whole state.
Wow.
For 12 hours.
12 hours.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Oh, my God.
And, you know, this is something that keeps happening, these bans.
Yeah.
And it really shows you that tension between these regional identities and, like, national unity in India.
Yeah.
And it just keeps flaring up around certain events.
Yeah.
But it has these deep historical roots.
Right.
So this time it seems like it was sparked by an attack on a bus conductor.
Oh, wow.
And that's gotten all mixed up with this broader tension in the Belagavi region.
Linguistic tensions.
Linguistic tensions, exactly.
Right. And, you know, these shutdowns, they're a way for people to protest.
Yeah, a powerful way.
But they can also have a big impact.
Oh, yeah, economically.
Yeah.
On the economy.
Especially on those daily wage earners and small businesses.
Right, who can't afford to miss a day of work.
Exactly.
So there's definitely a lot of debate about these things.
Always is.
Yeah, so what kind of impact can we expect to see tomorrow?
On the ground, you mean?
Yeah, on the ground.
Okay, so the notes mention potential disruptions to bus services.
Okay, so people trying to get around.
Yeah, not going to be easy.
Right.
So the KSRTC and the BMTC bus services are likely to be affected.
Oh, wow. So
that's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
A lot of routes. So, yeah, daily commutes are going to be tough.
And travel within the state? The whole state's going to be impacted.
Yeah, but essential services are usually expected to continue.
Right. Hospitals, emergency services, all that's going to keep running.
But good.
So that's a little bit of a relief.
Right.
Yeah.
So if people want to stay informed, what should they be looking at?
So the notes are saying that Indian media, like Times Now, India TV, and the Times of India are going to be covering this.
Okay.
They're probably going to focus on, like, road blockages, school closures, if any happen, and just the general public response.
Yeah. And what about X?
Oh, yeah. You know,
any hashtags we should be looking at?
Hashtags are going to be key here.
Yeah.
So things like Karnataka Banned.
Okay.
And Bengaluru News.
Okay, so we can get
a sense of what's happening as it unfolds.
Exactly. Okay, so that's Karnataka.
They banned.
Now we've got a separate ban happening in Ranchi.
Ranchi, another one.
What's going on there?
Okay, so this one involves the Sarntoli Bachao Morcha.
Okay.
And they've announced a shutdown also for March 22nd.
Okay.
But this one's longer.
Oh, wow.
From 6 a.m. to midnight.
So the whole day?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
And the big issue here seems to be the protection of a SARTA site.
Okay, and remind me what that is.
So it's a site that has a lot of cultural and religious importance for indigenous communities.
Okay.
And it's also about protecting the traditional Sarhol procession.
Okay.
So they're planning a Chaka Jam.
A what?
A Chaka Jam.
Okay.
It's a road blockade.
Oh, okay.
At major intersections.
So this is going to
shut the city down pretty much.
Affect a lot of traffic.
Yeah, big time.
Okay, so while the Karnataka ban is about these linguistic issues, this one seems to be more about
cultural and land rights.
Cultural and land rights.
Two very different issues, but both leading to these big disruptions.
Exactly. And it just shows you the diversity of ways that people mobilize for social and political reasons.
Fascinating.
It is. So where can people get updates on this one?
Okay, so for Ranchi, it looks like Prabhat Kabar is going to be a good source. They're probably going to focus on, you know, how this is affecting the residents.
Okay.
And there will probably be images and videos of the protests.
Right.
And the traffic.
Exactly. And what's the hashtag for this one?
Ranchi Band.
Ranchi Band. Okay.
Keep an eye on that one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's
heavy.
A lot going on.
Going on in India.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch gears to something
a little lighter.
A little lighter.
Yeah.
A little more fun.
Fun.
The IPL.
Oh, yeah.
The Indian Premier League.
A cultural phenomenon.
It is.
And a sporting event.
Huge.
So this year, the notes say that the 2025 season is starting with an opening ceremony.
Oh, wow.
In Kolkata.
At Eden Gardens.
Eden Gardens, followed by a match.
KKR versus
RCB.
That's going to be a big one.
Huge. Huge.
But there's a potential complication. Oh, no. What?
The weather, the 66% chance of rain.
Oh, no.
Earlier in the day.
That could put a damper on things.
A real damper.
Yeah, and you know how much anticipation surrounds the opening ceremony and the first batch.
Everyone's waiting for it.
Any delays.
Yeah.
A lot of disappointed fans.
Yeah, for sure.
So the news is definitely going to be watching that weather closely.
Yeah, for sure.
Outlets like Business Standard and sports channels like Star Sports.
Of course.
They're going to be all over the status of the ceremony.
Yeah.
Celebrity appearances.
Right.
And previews for the match.
For sure. And what are the hashtags?
IPL 2025 and KKR versus RCB.
Okay, so if you want updates...
Those are the ones to watch.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so from potential rain delays.
Right.
At the very exciting IPL.
Yeah.
To
back to reality.
Back to reality.
Yeah, the cloud.
The ever-present geopolitical tensions.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, those never seem to go away.
Right. The notes remind us that there are
a lot of conflicts.
Several major conflicts happening.
Still ongoing.
Still ongoing.
Yeah, it's sad.
And specifically the Israel-Gaza conflict.
Right.
And the situation in Ukraine.
Yeah, those are really top of mind, I think, for a lot of people.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we've got these Hamas rocket attacks in Gaza.
Yeah.
And 25 fatalities were reported just yesterday.
Oh, wow.
On X. And then Putin's actions in Ukraine.
Yeah, those are definitely contributing to the instability.
Yeah, and these aren't just,
distant events.
Distant event happening somewhere else.
Right, they affect all of us.
They have implications for the whole world.
For global stability, for international relations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there was also a really interesting political development in Israel.
Oh, yeah? What was that?
The dismissal of the Shin Bet chief.
Oh, wow.
On March 20th.
That's a big deal.
Big deal.
The shakeup at the top
right.
of the intelligence agency.
Right. So this could mean
a whole shift.
A real shift in their approach.
To security threats.
To security threats.
Which could have ripple effects.
Right.
Internationally.
Yeah, so analysts are going to be watching this.
Very closely.
Closely.
Trying to figure out what it all means.
What does it mean?
Yeah.
So for those trying to stay updated.
It's tough, right?
It is tough.
To keep up with all of this.
Yeah. What do you suggest?
Okay, so the notes are saying that there's a range of outlets to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Al Jazeera.
Okay.
For a Middle East Girl perspective.
Okay.
NPR.
Yeah.
For their comprehensive international coverage.
Okay.
And the Hindustan Times.
Okay.
For an Indian perspective.
Okay.
On these global events.
Right.
And then, of course, X is always going to be a place.
Yeah.
To get those real-time updates.
Okay.
Hashtags like Gaza conflict in Ukraine.
Got it.
Those are going to be key.
Okay, so it's always good to cross-reference, right?
Always make sure you're getting
multiple sources.
The whole story from different perspectives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on.
Okay. More sports.
What sports? Closer to home, March Madness.
Oh, yeah.
It's heating up.
It is. So the second round
of
the NCAA men's basketball tournament
starts tomorrow, March 22nd.
Tomorrow.
And this is when things get really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
We could see some upsets.
Always do.
Big upsets.
Big upsets.
So exciting. And on a more local level, we've got this high school basketball team.
Oh, cool.
That's making a real run.
What's their name?
Aquinas High School.
Aquinas High School. Okay.
They're looking like they're headed
to the championship.
To the Division IV championship.
Wow.
Their semifinal victory on March 20th was trending on X.
Oh, wow. So they're getting some attention.
Yeah, their community's really rallying behind them.
Love that.
Yeah, so exciting.
So where can we watch March Madness?
Yeah, where do we tune in?
Oh, wait, so for all the college basketball action, CBS Sports and the NCAA streaming services, those are your go-tos.
Got it.
And for Aquinas, I would check your local U.S. media outlets.
Okay.
You'll probably find some highlights.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe some fan reactions.
Yeah, for sure.
On
like hashtag
Aquinas Blue Golds.
Aquinas Blue Golds.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Go Blue Golds.
All right, so finally we've got to talk about climate change.
Big one.
This UN report is pretty concerning.
Yeah, so this report that was issued on March 20th is all about this decline in glacier mass around the world.
And that's a pretty crucial indicator.
It is.
Of,
the impacts of climate change.
Climate change.
Yeah, and it's getting a lot of attention.
It is. And it's interesting because it was released just after the spring equinox.
Oh, wow, on the 20th.
On the 20th.
So it's like this reminder of how the seasons are changing and how delicate our planet's climate really is.
Right. And the glacier melt, leads to sea level rise.
Right.
And it affects the freshwater availability.
In so many regions.
Yeah. It's a big problem.
It is.
So what kind of news coverage do you think we're going to see around this?
Okay, so I would look at outlets like the Guardian National Geographic.
Right.
Places that are known for their environmental reporting.
Right.
I think they'll have some really interesting in-depth analysis of this report.
Right.
They'll probably talk to experts about the long-term consequences.
They'll probably have some amazing visuals.
Amazing visuals.
Yeah, showing just how dramatic these changes are.
Yeah. And what about X?
Oh, yeah. Hashtag Climate Crisis 2025.
Okay.
That's going to be the one to watch. Got it.
Yeah.
So, wow. March 22nd, 2025.
Big day.
Looking like a really big day.
Yeah.
We've got potential travel disruptions, geopolitical tensions.
Sporting events.
And those critical environmental updates.
Yeah. It really is amazing to see how interconnected everything is.
Right.
All these different stories.
Yeah. One thing leads to another.
Exactly.
And, this has just been a preview.
A little sneak peek.
A sneak peek of what tomorrow's headlines might be.
Yeah, but who knows?
Who knows?
will actually happen.
Right. The news is always changing.
Always.
It can always surprise us.
That's the fun of it, right?
That is the fun of it.
Yeah.
So considering all of this, I have a question for you, the listener.
Oh, a good one.
What do you think is going to be the biggest story?
Of tomorrow.
Of tomorrow.
What's going to have the most impact?
Exactly.
Is it going to be Heathrow?
Yeah.
And those global travel disruptions?
The
conflicts? The IPO? Or the climate report?
Yeah. What do you think is going to have those?
Ripple effects.
Ripple effects.
Yeah. And think about the underlying trends here.
Yeah.
What's really going on beneath the surface.
This is a chance for you to really think critically.
Engage with the news.
About what's shaping our world.
And how it's all connected. So
that's it for today.
See you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow for the real news.
For the real deal.
For the real deal.
Yeah.